veterans? This is Julius Bennett coming to you live from Atlanta, Georgia. I am 100% permanent total Navy Desert Storm veteran. And today's message, we're going to go over something that's going to blow your mind. I want you to get out a piece of paper, pen and paper, get quiet to yourself, close the door, because we finna go ham on this law. Because a lot of veterans right now are failing because of the lack of knowledge, misinformation, okay? And the system failing them. That's why 8 out of 10 veterans are lowballed, and 63% of the applications are supplemental claims. That means you disagree with the decision, okay? The number one thing that I'm seeing is that this 38 USC code 1110, look it up, and 38 USC code 1131, 38 United States code. What does that mean? That means that's a congressional law. Democrats and Republicans voted this law that the evidence for service connection must show that the disability has an existence. Some of you, so many times I've talked to you on the phone and I ask you, do you have a current diagnosis? And you tell me no. No diagnosis. Does the disability exist if you don't have a diagnosis? Now, I've seen veterans go into a VSO office, Veteran Service Organization, which they are accredited, and you give them a power of attorney to advise you on filing your paperwork. They will let you come in there and file paperwork, and you don't even have a diagnosis that exists. Yeah, that's true. You went to the American Legion, you went to the DAV, you went to the VFW, and they let you file this paperwork, throw it up against the wall, see what fits, and they fail to meet element number 1. This is element number 1 of the 3-element process. 3-element process for getting service connected, okay? Now, if that's the law, how is it that they're allowing them to work for the VA as a state veteran service organization? I don't know. But we're talking about million-dollar benefits and millions of dollars being paid tax-free. I'll say that one more time. Why would you let someone that doesn't have your family's best interest to advise you on millions of dollars and millions of dollars of benefits? I don't understand. Some of you are taking the stance, oh, I got a job, I'm making good money, I'm not going to fool with VA disability. Are you serious? Do you know how many millionaires right now are filing zero taxes on federal taxes because they got the right tax team? They don't want to pay taxes. You have an opportunity, an unfair advantage to get tax-free money for the rest of your life if you legally file right, and you'll be ahead of the curve and you can leave a legacy for your family. So moving right along, if you don't have the evidence that show you're out of order, okay? So I want you to know that. Excuse me, I dropped my pen. Now, there's 2 types of diagnosis. You got a sub-threshold diagnosis. Sub-threshold diagnosis. What is that? Some of you walking around with pre-diabetes or pre-hypertension. Pre-diabetes or pre-hypertension. These are examples. Pre-diabetes and pre-hypertension. Oh, I got a diagnosis, Juniors. I'm sorry to tell you, sir, but pre-diabetes and pre-hypertension is not a diagnosis. Is it legally on the book? Some of you are bougie enough to have private insurance and you don't like going to the VA. You got Kaiser Permanente. That's fine. Where's the diagnosis? And if you do have the diagnosis, why you didn't print it out and present it in your packet? Why you didn't print it out and submit it to the VA My Healthy Vet secure message and make sure it's on your problem list? Because please believe, the first thing they're going to look for is, under this law, to deny your claim is, do you have a current disability diagnosis? Do you understand when you send in that evidence into the system, to the evidence intake center, that automatically triggers them to pull your outpatient records from the VA? If you don't go to the VA, how can they pull outpatient records if you don't go to the VA? You need to get your private records visible for the VA to see. Come on, man, let's get it together. Oh, I don't go to the VA, man. I got cousins. I don't care. Go get your diagnosis, sir. Print out the diagnosis and print out the meds, because this law right here, 38 USC 1110 and 38 USC 1131 says so. I don't want to hear about what, oh, my friend had this happen and my veteran buddy got 100% and he didn't have a Listen, bro, people make mistakes when they're making decisions. We're humans. Why would you bank on misinformation or luck for millions of dollars? You're talking about student loan forgiveness, no property taxes on your home. You can have $1 million home, and then if you die, your wife can benefit from property tax exemption as long as she don't get married. Let's just to begin with. Free dental for the rest of your life. I mean, it's so many other benefits outside of the monetary benefit. Why would you let misinformation cloud you? Let's get your knowledge. In 2023, it's my job to empower you. You have a duty, responsibility, obligation to your family to take advantage of these $1 million benefits, but you can't do jack if you don't follow the law. Let's get this law out the way. If you don't have a diagnosis today, I want you to send a secure message if you use the VA. Get an appointment to get your diagnosis. It's the law. Now, I'm going to show you how the VA system is so broken that they'd allowed a veteran to go through the regional office in their state, all the way up to Washington, D.C., in an appellate court with a docket number last December of 2022 with no diagnosis. Yeah, I said it. I'm going to share with you how the system fails you. Listening to misinformation, listening to VSOs, and you don't even have element number one. You just throwing it up against the wall because so-and-so said it. Somebody that worked at your job did it, and they got away with it. So let's pull up the docket. Ladies and gentlemen, this decision date was 12/16/2022. The docket number, because some of you probably say, oh, Junius is making things up. He gets on my nerve thinking he know everything. I'm just here to help you. This is the docket number. You can look up the docket number right now. Docket number 220412-23506. Google it. Google it, ladies and gentlemen. This is a decision that came down from the appellate court where the VA judge, the law judge, was Paul Soricio. That was the veteran law judge, veteran judge. So the judge was in the courtroom, and the attorney for the board was Jay Dworkin. He was a counsel. Attorney for the board. For the Board of Veterans Appeals now. Not you, not the veteran. Docket number. Okay, let me read this case to you guys. The veteran filed a direct service connection for acquired psychiatric disability to include post-traumatic stress disorder and depression is denied. What did he file for? Direct service connection. That means, y'all know, if you file in direct, what does that mean? That means you got to have in-service injury proof that it happened in service, correct? But we're not going to talk about that now because the thing that's in question is element number one, okay? And that's called diagnosis. Now, you think that that's taxpayers' money because taxpayers' money is paying for the judge, taxpayers' money is paying for the board, attorney, taxpayers' money to the court system, everything. Am I right? I just want to make sure you understand how much money is involved for incompetence. Wasting your time and the taxpayers' dollars as well. Okay, this veteran finding the evidence persuasively, listen closely, the evidence persuasively weighs against the finding that the veteran has a diagnosis of an acquired psychiatric disability to include PTSD and depression during or proximate to the period of appeal. Wait a minute. Through the period of appeal means that he didn't have it at the regional level in the first place. If it made it all the way to the appeal, so you mean to tell me they have something called a duty to assist law. You mean to tell me the regional office didn't send a letter to the man's house and say, bro, this looks good, but you don't even have a diagnosis. Shouldn't it be a system that says, hey man, you're not meeting element number one, go get your diagnosis. Shouldn't the VSO should have said, hey man, before I file this, you don't have a diagnosis. This guy served, bless his heart. Let me tell you when he served. The veteran served on active duty from March 67 to December 70. 1967 to December 70. He served 68, 69. He served 2.5 years or 3 years, okay? Now, he served in the 60s and 70s. How you think he is? If it's 2022, Let's just take this. Just take he was 20 years old at 70, and 70 to 2000 is 30 years, and we got 22. That's 52 plus 20. Let's say he's 72 years old, at least 70. He's a senior citizen. Why would a senior citizen be filing for this VA disability? If money was all that from Social Security and the retirement, why would he be filing? Because we know it's not enough. Okay? We know it's not enough. All right. Now, the reasons and basis for finding the inclusion. It explained direct review means the board decision was based on the evidence of record at the time of prior decision with no evidence submission of the hearing request. Entitlement to psychiatric disability to include PTSD depression. The veteran asserts through his lay statement 21-4138, the veteran asserts that he is entitled to service connection for a psychiatric disability. You wrote a statement saying, I'm entitled. I'm filing for psychiatric disability. Then they come out and quote law again, 38 CFR, service connection may be granted for disability resulting from a disease or injury incurred or aggravated by service. The 3-element test, I talked about it, it's written. The 3-element test. Number 1, a current disability. He didn't even meet the first element, and it passed through a VSO, it passed through a VFW, credit investors, raters, VA raters inside the regional office. No supervisor sent the letter out or nothing to this 72-year-old senior citizen veteran. Sir, with all due respect, we thank you for your service. This is what you need to get done. It went to the appellate court and got denied. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to be so empowered to stop watching and start typing right now, newlifeveterans.com. Let's do a free consultation because every disability is not the same. Every veteran's case is not the same. You need to get these $1 million benefits that can be unlocked tax-free for the rest of your life. And you can't be jerked around by misinformation, jerked around by employees don't care about you at the regional office, jerked around by everybody that should know. The law says, number 1, the first element is disability diagnosis. Thank you so much for watching the video. I hope this empowered you. Have a great weekend. Talk to you soon.